Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are going to be doing a collective tarot reading and energy update for our beautiful collective here on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for sharing your beautiful light and energy with this virtual space that we are co-creating together. And I just want to express how deeply grateful I am for each and every one of you here. As I often say, these videos really are co-creations. So thank you for bringing your own powerful energy and frequency to the video here, which will be playing an active role in co-creating all of the messages that come through here. Now, I want to say that I'm picking up a message right away for a very specific divine feminine. Now, whenever I use these terms, divine feminine or divine masculine, of course, these are referring to energy dynamics, and they don't necessarily correlate to a particular gender. So what this means is we all have a balance internally of both divine feminine and divine masculine energy. So the messages that I share here could apply to your internal masculine or feminine, or to an external person or situation. So because I'm picking up on a specific group of divine feminines, I will be leaving those words, divine feminine, in the title of the video, just so that you can gravitate towards this video more easily. But of course, you may be a divine masculine listening here as well. And I always say that if you feel guided to this video, it is for some kind of reason. I just saw the number 222 on the recording timer. I do believe that if you felt drawn here, there is some message here for you, but I always recommend using your own intuition and only taking the messages that really resonate for you in a personal way. That intuition really is the compass and the guiding light of your life experience. Now, let's get into what I was receiving sort of as a download here, but it's interesting that those words guiding light came out, because those words have been coming out a lot as I've been describing your energy. And I actually felt guided to look up some of the meaning here, although of course on the surface, the meaning of being a guiding light feels really obvious, but I feel there's going to be something in the wording here that is going to trigger some kind of deeper, more conscious connection with this concept. So here it says, a guiding light is an inspiration to others, a powerful person, or could be a celebrity. Now, when I channeled into the idea of you having celebrity energy, which has been something as well that's come up in recent collective readings, if you've been following the channel, this doesn't have to mean that you are necessarily in the spotlight in a literal sense, although that could be the way that it applies for some of you listening. But what I'm getting from this celebrity energy type thing that we're talking about is, at its core, regardless of whether or not you are in a literal spotlight, you are in a spiritual spotlight, meaning your energy is being amplified. It's being, I don't want to say illuminated, because you've always been illuminated in the sense that you've carried this higher vibrational frequency that lights up the places and spaces and people that have the privilege of connecting with your energy. But specifically, it's being amplified and illuminated in a stronger way, in a more conscious way, and possibly with an even broader reach in the spiritual realm, in the quantum realm. So when I say you have this celebrity energy, it's that you really are the center of gravity spiritually speaking, for rooms that you walk into, you have the ability to shift the entire vibration of a room or of a group of people or even of a day in your local area. You can really shift the energy just through your presence. You also have a frequency that's being individually and consciously felt and perceived in a stronger way, which is why you might notice that you are running into or meeting strangers at random, or you're having these strangely deep, meaningful conversations with the most seemingly people that are seemingly strangers, people that you might pass on the street or interact with in a very casual context. You will sometimes find yourself actually having these really deep conversations just briefly with these individuals. Many fated meetings are taking place. That's just a more simple way of putting it here. And that's all playing into, by the way, before I forget, another sign of you being this guiding light is that you actually may have people from your past suddenly getting curious about you or interested in you or wanting to reach out, wanting to reconnect. These are all signs that you may have been experiencing for a while now in one form or another, as you have been kind of placed in this, what we're calling a guiding light role. Now, getting back to the definition here, you guys know I love to go off on these little tangents. Thank you for bearing with me, because this is often just kind of my method for channeling information in sort of this roundabout way. So I really hope that you receive whatever is meant for you in the way that you are meant to receive it. But here it says, a guiding light is a metaphor for someone or something that provides hope and direction in times of uncertainty or difficulty. And that's exactly what I feel that you are doing. That you are being this form of guidance for other people, whether you're doing this through your example or whether you are doing this through actual physical conversations that you are having with these kinds of individuals. But in either case, I see that people are being drawn into your kind of orbit at this time for a reason. They are sensing on an unconscious soul level that you have this ability to guide them, whether it's through them simply observing the example of how you're living your life, or whether it's through some kind of specific message that you relay to them intentionally or unintentionally. And I'm getting most of the time it's actually unintentional. I got the name George for someone. I'm also getting the name Kim and Kira. These could be someone's name. Okay, so by the way, whenever I channel very specific names, dates, details, that kind of thing in these readings, these are typically meant for very specific individuals. I also have been incorporating lately more of our word scramble, which you guys who have been following the channel for a while will be familiar with this, but it's a way that I channel very seemingly random, but often specifically connecting words, phrases, names, etc., that are very much intended to connect with specific individuals listening in very personal ways. So always use your intuition. I guess you could say your intuition is your guiding light, your guidance. But I'm getting the sense that the people crossing your path, there's something about these people coming through here. These are not, you're going to notice similarities between these people. Again, I feel like I'm channeling such a specific divine feminine, but you're going to notice that these people are in the middle of some kind of very difficult time in their life where things feel very much in flux, where they're feeling a bit lost, where they're maybe in the middle of some kind of transition and not really sure which way to go or what to do. And I'm hearing that you get drawn into these people's lives often through these very temporary meetings or interactions or conversations, or even just them being in your vicinity and wordlessly observing you. Maybe you never even have a conversation, but you cross paths physically. But these individuals are going through this difficult time in their life. I'm hearing suffering silently. So they may not be very open with most people regarding this kind of internal conflict that they're experiencing. So when they interact with your energy in whatever way that looks like in the physical, this acts as a guiding light to them because it helps them to reconnect with their soul. I'm seeing a book, so maybe someone here really likes to read or is really intelligent. That might be speaking to you, but this could also speak to the energy of someone that you're connecting here. I'm getting the words airplane, aunt, feathers, soldier. Maybe someone was a soldier in the past life here. Tide, something about the ocean. Trip, the name Paul. Friend, writer. Interesting. So one of those words or something there may be connecting with someone that I'm speaking to here. But the card that we pulled here is the Seven of Pentacles. So I get the sense that these people that you are meeting or interacting with are people who are working really hard towards something, but almost feeling as though they're spinning their wheels or not necessarily seeing the result that they would like to see in their lives. Now, for some of you, I might actually be speaking to a literal business or trade that you're involved in, because I'm getting the sense that for a particular divine feminine listening, this is locking in so consciously and personally, in the sense that you might actually have clients or customers or friends or people that you literally connect with who are trying to do something or build something or create something in their lives and feeling a little bit overwhelmed because they feel like they're spinning their wheels, physically speaking. And somehow the way that you are a guiding light in these people's lives is you influence them to reconnect with their soul. And in that soul reconnection, this automatically aligns and opens up their pathway, because what you're really teaching others, again, often not with your words, but just through your example, is that when you reconnect deeply with your own soul, the path opens up in front of you, but that it can't be forced, that it's not the other way around, that you can't take enough action to compensate for a lack of alignment with your own soul. I'm hearing connecting with your true purpose. So maybe somehow I'm speaking to something that connects with a specific soul purpose for you on this planet. So one of your soul purposes, because most of us, especially you listening here, one thing you have to understand about your soul blueprint is that it's not restrictive, it's not limited. So when we talk about finding our purpose or our passion, it's a little bit misleading because it's more so the embodiment of many core soul values, core soul traits that you incarnated into this lifetime, knowing that you wanted to embody, and through embodying them to be an example to others. And then as a result of that, as kind of a byproduct, there are many things that you could potentially do with that energy. And that's where that conscious creation element comes in, where I say that you are the conscious creator of your life. That's because you get to decide how you want to physically exemplify and embody those core soul characteristics, how you want that to look in the physical realm, what you want to create or do with that. And in some cases, it could be as simple as just being the living, breathing embodiment of those traits as you go out and explore the world and connect with others and enjoy your life. And that could in itself be a very powerful purpose. For others of you, this purpose, this expression of those core soul traits that then leads to what we could call a purpose is much more specific. So in connection with your core soul traits, you may have actually been given specific soul gifts and abilities. And much like what we consider to be a purpose or a passion, you are very unlimited when it comes to these soul gifts, meaning we often don't just have one specific gift that we have, and that's really all we can do forevermore. Typically, we are given multiple specific soul gifts. And when I say given, that's really not accurate, because actually, the reason we have these soul gifts is because they are inclinations that we've been drawn to through multiple lifetimes. So we actually have a deep subconscious knowledge of how to do these particular things because of that unconsciously stored past life experience. So, for example, if you have a gift for dancing or creating music or writing, especially those things that you just found yourself naturally doing as a kid, or those things that maybe when you were a child you said were your dream job growing up, that often speaks to skills, abilities, and professions that you actually trained at and developed a lot of expertise at through multiple past lifetimes. And because that unconscious knowledge is there, there is that pull, that gravitational pull towards those skills, gifts, and abilities that, technically speaking, on a soul level, you've already developed. That's also why we have these certain gifts that we tend to pick up extremely fast. You'll even find the rare child who is more subconsciously unlocked, who can just pick up some gift or ability and do it like an expert, or like what we consider to be a professional with zero experience. This is evidence of the fact that we do have these past lives where we build up these experiences, where we train ourselves in these directions, in a sense. And I don't know why we're getting on this whole tangent, but it leads me to believe that you've really been someone with many different soul gifts and talents in this life. And at times, this actually may have made it difficult for you to choose a specific direction or to define your passion to yourself or to other people. But the guides are saying your purpose is a living, breathing, beautiful expression of everything that you are as a soul here in physical form. And that is extremely multifaceted, as it is meant to be. You were born an extremely multifaceted person. I mean, everyone is to some degree, but I feel you especially have this way about you where you actually have many different gifts, skills, and abilities. You may also be someone who in the past has tended to kind of, let's say, jump between different hobbies, different gifts, different ideas. Know that this is not coincidental. This also speaks to what we're talking about here, to the fact that you've had these natural gifts, these natural abilities. And so it only makes sense that you've been kind of jumping between them a little bit, because you had this subconscious awareness that you are very gifted in many different ways, and this deep desire to express all of that without limiting yourself. And I'm also picking up that there is such beauty when you embrace that, embracing your multifaceted nature and allowing yourself to move between these different expressions of your soul in a very fluid, dance-like fashion without needing to rigidly lock yourself into one specific thing. So that might be playing some kind of role here as well, where you are beginning to allow yourself to explore and express different soul gifts and abilities without needing to necessarily judge or overthink that expression of all that you are. There's such a fluidity to this. Again, it's very much like a dance. It's not something that can be really contained or restricted or defined. It's something that has to just be flowed with in the moment and expressed as you feel inspired. But I feel as you do that, things seem to align in these magnificent, miraculous ways ahead of you. And it seems to weave together this beautiful life that is like a piece of art because of all of these different pieces and aspects of yourself that you are having the courage and the flexibility to express. So finally, getting back to the Seven of Pentacles that we pulled in the first part of the reading, I also feel that somehow this could be relating to you as well. So I get the sense of you almost feeling your way rather, through the dark when it comes to something. What this feels like to me is as though you are moving in a direction, following your intuition, kind of like a compass, believing that you're going to get to something, to a certain outcome, a certain destination, a certain manifestation. But there is this sense of trusting, following your faith, and not really knowing exactly how every step is going to pan itself out. It's like you have this end vision or end concept of an outcome or a manifestation, and at the same time, you also have this compass within you, which is your intuition telling you what direction you're moving in. But there is this feeling of, how do I know that this is actually going to bring the result that I'm seeking? How do I know that I'm actually moving in the right direction? For many of you, I feel that this relates to what we've been talking about as the 3D versus 5D split as well, where there's been this split in consciousness. And this isn't just something happening collectively where, for example, some people are in the 3D, some people are in the 5D. It's actually much more nuanced than that, because this 3D versus 5D split is something that we can experience individually within our own being, within our own energy body. We can actually feel ourselves like we're shedding a skin, peeling back the layers of those old 3D ways of thinking and being. And we can feel ourselves shifting into these lighter states of being. But at the same time, just like there is this conflict or tension between the 3D way of being and the 5D way of being, we can actually feel that tension within ourselves internally. We can feel ourselves simultaneously at times being pulled back into old patterns, dynamics, ways of being, while sensing that there is so much more, feeling that lightness of the fifth dimension, feeling that abundance mentality, feeling those higher vibrations of unconditional love and total self-acceptance, self-love on such a deep level. All of those things that resonate with more of what we think of being a fifth dimensional state of being. But there is this tension that, again, isn't just something playing out externally, collectively, but something that we can feel internally, individually. And so much of walking this pathway towards greater abundance, towards holistically manifesting our desires, but not through force or push in this kind of unsustainable, burnt out way, but through our own self-love and through ease and through peace and lightness and trust and energetic alignment. This requires so much trusting of the process and of the path out of us, because oftentimes our only confirmation is that feeling that we are becoming lighter, that we're becoming more self-confident, that we're becoming more open and self-loving. And those are your signs of confirmation that you're on track to manifesting all of those things that you are moving towards, but again, in a harmonious way, in a way that encompasses everything that you desire, both consciously and subconsciously. So it's interesting. I'm hearing what you put into it is what you get out of it. But what I'm hearing that mentality to mean is whatever we attain from a place of force or control, we will have to force or control in order to keep it. Whatever we attain from a place of ease and peace will actually support even greater ease and even greater peace when it manifests in our lives. Now, I don't know why I feel the need to say this, but I'm getting that this definitely applies to relationships that we attain or that we create in our lives, because we all have had examples of creating a relationship from a state of victimhood or fear, desperation, and we've all had experiences of how then those relationships still carry the vibration of how they were created and often end up being very toxic, lower vibrational, codependent relationships in the long run. Whereas the relationships that we attracted when we were feeling good, feeling happy, feeling confident within ourselves, in the long run tend to reflect back to us and support us in those confident, thriving, self-loving, independent states of being. Now, of course, this doesn't have to apply for you specifically in relationships. This goes for anything in our lives, whether it's a business, a job, whether it's a lifestyle, whatever we're trying to manifest. Keep in mind that especially as we are shifting into these higher states of consciousness, what we put into it energetically is what we get out of it physically, meaning when you allow yourself to move from that feeling of inspiration and to take action from that positive, inspired place, rather than trying to force or control. When we allow ourselves to prioritize ease, to prioritize peace and self-love, we manifest things that are in alignment with those kinds of energies and dynamics, which in essence, this all circles back to our core soul values as well, because how do we know what kinds of traits to cultivate and embody when I talk about self-love, ease, peace? Well, this actually can look slightly different from one individual to the next, and it's based upon your unique soul values, your core soul values, the things that are most beneficial and important to you, the things that bring you the deepest sense of fulfillment, whether that is your self-love, your assistance to others, your generosity, your freedom, your independence, your creativity, whatever these things are for you. Now, there are such a myriad, really limitless core soul values that a soul could have. But I get the sense that for many of you, you already have these kind of defined traits that tend to mark your idea of an ideal life or mark the kind of person that you want to be and show up as in the world. And again, the more that you infuse these energies into your day, into your life, into your being, and manifest from those core traits, the more that your manifestations will be in alignment with those energies, and therefore more in alignment with you at the core of who you are, and therefore more deeply fulfilling to you. So, wow, very interesting messages coming through here. I do want to see if we can pull any other cards from the traditional tarot here. So let's see what else wants to come out in this reading. And the card I pulled here is the 5 of Wands. So this can be about disagreement. This can be arguments, chaos, but I don't really get the sense of you being involved in this. I feel that I'm hearing people trying to compete with you. Maybe you have people who are trying to compete with you, but you are only competing with yourself in a sense. You are really only focused on yourself. But it's almost like you can pick up this energy of people cross-comparing with you or trying to set up some sense of being in competition with you. That won't be for everyone. I'm also getting the sense that you may have people who are, I don't want to say trying to drag you into small-minded arguments and conversations, but at times it might feel that way. I'm hearing taking sides. I'm not sure why all of this is coming up, but maybe you feel like you have people who are trying to pull you into their drama to get you to take sides or to kind of pull you into these lower vibrational conflicts or conversations. This won't be for anyone or for everyone. I hope it's for someone, but I don't really know who this is going to be for. I want to see if we have any other messages of guidance here. Wow. Okay. So we have the Queen of Wands. I'm hearing remember your power. Remember that The only way that you can inspire others is by setting boundaries that are self-reinforcing and self-supportive, because if you are not supporting yourself, grounding yourself, keeping your energy in a place that feels good for you, then you can't be that bright and shining example, that kind of guiding light that we were describing to other people. I get the sense of you really being in your place of power. It's almost like we have these 5 wands here, and everyone's kind of in a stalemate almost here with these 5 wands. But you're over here, the Queen of Wands. I really see you wielding your power in a sense, but above it all, you're wielding your power through disconnecting from situations and conversations that don't feel serving to you, from disengaging from people and things that are lowering your vibration. You're in this place of power, and yet you're disconnected from those kind of lower vibrational coercive energies, even as they might at times feel as though they're swirling around you. It's very interesting. It's almost like you've really begun to master these, what we think of as 5D states of being, these states of love, abundance, happiness, self-love. But now you're being placed back in situations where you're almost interacting in more real time, or being connected to physically people, things, and spaces that represent very opposite energies from your own, very what we might think of as 3-dimensional energies. And I feel this has something to do with the way in which we've talked about your frequency being amplified recently, you being revealed to the world in a stronger way. I feel like you're being pushed out there in a sense to be that guiding light around people, places, and spaces that may actually carry a very opposite energy from your own. But I'm hearing light shines brightest in the darkness. So know that if you've been guided to be around certain situations, of course, setting your boundaries, but to be connected to certain things or to be around certain things that don't necessarily carry the same frequency as your own, it might be because you're actually feeling called to illuminate that space, to be a guiding light in that space. So, wow, very powerful messages coming through today's reading. I am going to keep this going on Patreon. So in the Patreon extended reading, we are going to be taking a look at anyone or anything who might be connected to your energy at this time, any messages that want to come through from someone thinking about you, from your spirit guides, from your higher self, and anything else that wants to manifest through that extended reading. So if you're feeling guided to that, the link to access it is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, where I post more energy updates, inspiration, and information. And I usually say this at the beginning, but there was just a lot coming through, so we didn't get to it until the end. But there are still really just less than 2 days now, as of when I'm posting this, to enter the free tarot reading giveaway on the channel for the month of November. So the drawing will close at midnight Eastern Standard Time on, I guess technically it will be December 1st of 2024. So if you're watching this before that time, you can still enter the drawing, and the full rules are in the YouTube video description box if you're interested. But I will be selecting a winner in just a couple days and announcing it on December 1st in a community post. And if you win the reading, which again, it's entirely free to enter, you can get a private emailed tarot reading from me personally. The way to enter is simply to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment underneath the video. So all you have to do to enter this free giveaway is like, comment, and subscribe. Good luck to everyone entering. I'm really excited to do this first reading, and hopefully, if this goes well, this is something that we can continue doing in the future. So otherwise, I think that's everything. I just want to say again, a huge thank you to all of you listening. If you are continuing on with me now on Patreon, the link to that is under the video. Have an amazing remainder of your day and week, and I will connect with you here again in Monday's reading.